Hello and welcome to another iceberg video. It's been a while since I've recorded something. As a matter of fact, I've got a different recording space now, so if you hear any random screaming in the background, don't worry about it. So anyway, we've got a new episode of Pokémon Showdown and a new format to work with. This time, we are working with Random Battle Mayhem. I've played a couple of rounds of this while I was outside of recording, and I think it's better if I just show you what's up with this. So let's get underway. Right, so the first, is that an upside down question mark? Right, so the first battle is underway. Off the bat, my opponent's got Celebi, Cresselia, and Regieleki, while I don't have any legendaries. Okay, I'm gonna work with Sharpedo here to start off. My opponent's going for Regieleki. As you'll notice here, Sharpedo is not a water type. The typing is determined by the first two moves in this Pokemon's moveset, in this case Protect and Crunch. So usually trying to close combat against a normal type would pan out here. And right as I say that, they choose to switch, so my point is already invalid. Still did a decent amount of damage though. I'm gonna go for a Hydro Pump this time, and it does normal damage there, and Celebi goes for a Recover. Another thing I forgot to mention is that weaknesses are now resisted and vice versa. So going for a Crunch in this case actually would not be very effective. Meanwhile, there's a Psychic. Normally it would be entirely resisted. It would take no damage from a Dark type, but this is Random Battle Mayhem, so somehow it's super effective, and Sharpedo is the first one eliminated. So we're going to go on to Noctowl here, and I'm gonna go for a Heat Wave. Noctowl is entirely a flying type in this case. They go for a switch onto Cresselia, and in this case Cresselia is a fairy type. The fire type move did not do a lot of damage. What is Cresselia thinking here? Hurricane does a decent amount. Thunder Wave in response to paralyze Noctowl. I'm just gonna go for a Defog here to make things interesting. Probably wasn't the right option because Cresselia has a recovery move. So I'm gonna go for Heat Wave now. They go for another switch onto Decidueye. So Heat Wave does a bit there, a normal and Ghost type. You pretty much have to keep Noctowl on. As the Hurricane misses, they go for a Leaf Blade. In this case, it's super effective, and Noctowl is down to the yellow. Gonna see if the Heat Wave hits, and Decidueye down to the yellow, and Noctowl is out. I'm gonna go for Pangoro, a Dark and Poison type, and I'm gonna go for a Gunk Shot. They go for a Leaf Blade once again. Gunk Shot, super effective, and Decidueye is out. Up next, they go back to Cresselia. Gunk Shot is the only move I could use, so I'm just gonna go to Melodic here. Because why not? Thunder Wave to paralyze Melodic. I only have one attacking move, but Toxic is pretty good, so I'll go for that. And they go for another switch onto Celebi. The Toxic hits, does a bit of damage, counteracting the leftovers at the moment. And Celebi goes for a Recover here, and Scald doesn't do a whole lot. The Toxic is gonna wear Celebi out eventually. Are you serious? The Scald hits Cresselia instead, and it doesn't do a lot there. They go back to Celebi right as I go for a Toxic, and I miss it somehow. This is starting to get aggravating, to be completely frank with you. If you really want to master the art of switching out, why not go for a move like this? Lycanroc heading in, and they go for a nasty plot here. And I'm gonna go for Psychic Fangs. Super effective. Celebi down to the yellow. Psychic in response. Lycanroc down to the red, and that wasn't even super effective. Also, apparently everybody and their mother in my team, that doesn't make any sense, has speed boost, and Psychic Fangs does normal damage there. In this specific game mode, Weezing has an advantage, so I'm gonna switch back to Pangoro. Sludge Bomb, super effective. Pangoro is out, so I'm gonna go back to Lycanroc, I guess. Psychic Fangs again. Weezing down to the yellow. Sludge Bomb hits. Super effective again against Lycanroc. We're down to 2 here. So I'm gonna go to Sigilyph. The Cannon Flying and Psychic type, and that is super effective and a critical hit. So up next, who is it going to be? It is going to be Cresselia. Energy Ball is the only move I could use here. It does a decent amount of damage, and they go for another Thunder Wave. So Energy Ball able to hit on this one. Is a bit more Psyshock. Super effective, but doesn't do a whole lot. I don't really understand why there, but Energy Ball puts Cresselia down to the red and recovers onto the green with a Moonlight. I guess I'm going to go for Energy Ball again. They go for a switch onto Regieleki, and that does a lot. So I'm going to go again, and that will take Regieleki down. They go on to Ditto here with the Imposter Play. That could be a real... It is a really good call after all. Psychic, super effective. And Melodic remains. I'm gonna go for a Scald here if I can. They're probably gonna... Yep, they're gonna go to Celebi. Melodic paralyzed as well. I can't go for a Toxic. And Celebi goes for a Recover. There's a critical hit though. I'm just gonna spam Scald at this point, because I don't think Celebi's got a good attack to try and deal with this mess. I have a feeling there's going to be something that jinxes me. There's a Psychic, 2-time special attack, but Melodic is still in the green. So trying to go for another Scald, but Melodic paralyzed and Celebi goes for a Recover. I almost forgot I have that move as well and can't use it because once again Melodic is paralyzed as Celebi is charging up. Gonna go for a Scald. It hits this time. Doesn't do a whole lot, but the burn could most certainly help. But it also means I cannot really use Toxic. Might not matter. There's a critical hit against Celebi. Psychic takes down Melodic. What are you gonna do there? A tough loss to start things off, but they call it Mayhem for a reason. Moving swiftly on to the next battle, and I'm gonna go for Cobalion to start off. Meanwhile, my opponent goes for Scolipede. Normal and fighting against normal and poison, so I'm gonna go for a close combat, never mind. They go on to Reuniqueless, so it does normal damage, and you know what? I'm gonna switch out. And I guess the call here is to go on to Miltank, and Reuniqueless going for a Trick Room. While at 1.5 times speed. Even then, his speed is already pretty low. Gonna go for a Body Slam against Reuniqueless in this one. Reuniqueless could switch out again. They go for a Shadow Ball instead, and it takes down Miltank in a one-hit KO. So, up next, I'm gonna go for Arctozolt. I'm gonna go for a Freeze Dry here. There's another Shadow Ball, does a good amount, and Freeze Dry in response doesn't do a whole lot. There's the Speed Boost. I'm just gonna go for a Thunder Wave here. It might make Reuniqueless faster. Trick Room fails. The Twisted Dimensions return to normal. So who goes first next turn? We're gonna find out here. I'm gonna go for a Bolt Beak this time, and it will be enough to take down Reuniqueless, and we are level. We've got Electivire. Here's another Electric and Ice type. This is gonna be good. A Volt Absorb from Arctozolt and a Motor Drive from Electivire. Are you kidding me? I thought I had this one on the counterattack, but the abilities coming through here, and Ice Punch will take down Arctozolt. That's going in the compilation. So Cobalion is going to be up next. I guess I'm going to go for an Iron Head here. Go for a Volt Switch. Another Volt Absorb by Cobalion, as Iron Head doesn't do a lot. Probably my strongest move though, considering the typing for Electivire. There's a nice punch. Does a good amount against Cobalion. Both Pokemon down to the yellow here. Gonna go for an Iron Head again if we can, and we cannot. So Weavile's going to be up next. An Ice and Normal type, and I'm gonna go for a Triple Axle against Electivire. And the Ice Punch hits, and it's a one-hit KO against Weavile. We're down to 2. And I'm gonna go for Suicune here. A Water and Ice, that's going to be 4 times weak against Ice. I'm just going to go for an Ice Beam if we can, and it's another one-hit KO. Is Electivire going to sweep this team? Comfey is the last Pokemon. Psychic and Grass. I don't really have anything super effective. I'm going to try and play it patient. Earthquake goes against Comfey. That will be that. Electivire absolutely dominated in this game. I'm gonna play a couple more of these, even though by now you probably already realize how broken this game mode is. This is going to be an interesting battle here. We've got Aegislash on one side and Doublade on the other. I'm gonna start off with Crustle here. And my opponent is going to start off with Alolan Persian. It is ground and normal against Dark and Psychic. 4 times resisted by the X-Scissor, so I'm going to go for an Earthquake, while Persian goes for a Nasty Plot. Earthquake doesn't do a lot. Gonna go for a Stone Edge if we can. A super effective, but hangs on with the sturdy. Nonetheless, Crustle is probably gonna be the first one out. And there we go. I didn't know Alolan Persian had Thunderbolt there, so I'm gonna go for Executor, a Dragon Grass type, and I'm gonna go for a Giga Drain if we can. And once again, 4 times super effective, but that Giga Drain almost came in clutch. Only move I could use now, an Executor eliminated by a Thunderbolt again. I was not aware of that. I'm gonna go for Doublade here. Finding the leftovers, we're gonna go for a Shadow Sneak. Actually, no, I don't think that's gonna be enough. I'm gonna go for an Iron Head. So what's the call for Persian this time? They go for another Thunderbolt. That doesn't do enough. An Iron Head will take down Persian here. They go onto Pikachu here, a Dark and Electric type. So a lot of options here. I'm going to go for Iron Head if we can. Volt Tackle does a pretty good amount. Doublade down to the red, Pikachu down to the yellow. So if Pikachu goes for another Volt Tackle, Doublade will be eliminated. And they go for a Volt Switch instead. Still enough to take down Doublade. Meanwhile, Pikachu is going to head out, and it is Skuntank heading on a pure poison type this time. I'm going to go for Xurkitree, and I'm going to go for a Dazzling Gleam against Skuntank. Actually, no. Energy Ball is a better option. Poison Jab does a pretty good amount against Xurkitree. Meanwhile, Energy Ball will take down Skuntank here. Pikachu heading back out. Energy Ball is the only move I could use, and Volt Tackle takes down Xurkitree. I'm already down to 2 Pokemon, Pinsir being one of them. A Bug and Fighting type. I'm gonna go for... both of these moves are super effective against Dark. We got a knockoff, though. Pikachu with a knockoff, super effective. Pinsir hangs on and lands a knockoff to take down Pikachu. Pinsir eventually taken down as well. Blissey is the last Pokemon heading out, up against Aegislash here. A fighting Psychic type against a fighting and Ghost type. And I'm going to go for a Toxic to start off. Aegislash with the Swords Dance to double his attack. Gonna go for a Seismic Toss this time. The stance change and the Iron Head. Blissey endured it. It wasn't even super effective. Seismic Toss doesn't do enough. So I think that's going to be all that for Blissey there. Shadow Sneak resisted, but still does enough to decide the game here. Haven't won a single one of these as of yet. Alright, so a new battle awaits here, and we've got Uxie in this team. Most likely going to be up against... I was going to say Eternatus, instead it is Skarmory. We're going to go for a U-turn to start things off. That doesn't do a whole lot, and I have to switch out, so it's a pretty dumb decision there. But we're going to go on to Marowak. Meanwhile, Skarmory goes for a Stealth Rock, trying to make sure that I don't switch out too much. So fair play there. I'm going to go for a Flare Blitz. And they go for the Spikes Flare Blitz. Critical hit against Skarmory, and that will be the first KO of the game. An ideal start in this one. So heading up next for whatever that username is, it is going to be Lilligant. That might actually be a good call against Marowak. So you know what? I'm going to switch on to Uxie. I'll switch back here, and Lilligant charging up. So I'm just going to go for a Psychic. Sweet Powder misses, and Psychic doesn't do a whole lot. I'm just going to keep at it with Psychic though, and Lilligant is going to sweep this team, isn't she? Special defense is a bit lower though, after that Psychic. I'd rather Lilligant go for an attack right now rather than charge up and completely wipe out my team and my opponent's disconnected. Go for another Quiver Dance here. So I'll need something to really deal against Lilligant. You know what? I'm gonna go for Pangoro. Lilligant going for another Quiver Dance here. I'm going to go all in. Close combat. If we can, and Petal Dance goes against Pangoro. I think the sweep is starting to happen. Gallade is up next. That did a good amount. The Stealth Rock. Trying to see if we can land a close combat this time, and we cannot. The Petal Dance hits first. So up next is Marowak. Gonna try a Poltergeist here, and Petal Dance goes, and Marowak eliminated. Weezing up next now. This is really not panning out. They go for a Pollen Puff this time, and a critical hit. And Weezing is eliminated. Uxie up next. And we're gonna go for a Psychic if we can. Lilligant probably gonna go first. Lands the Petal Dance here, and Uxie is out. Rapidash is up next. Last Pokemon heading out. I'm just gonna go for a Wild Charge here if we can. It's not gonna be enough. That is a full-on sweep from Lilligant. Right, so a new battle is underway here. We're going to start things off with Berserker this time. Up against Shedinja, a fire and ghost type. We're going to go for a U-turn here. And they go for a switch onto Incineroar. Well read, and the Wonder Guard for Incineroar as well, and that's the only move I could use. So I'm gonna go on to Chandelure now. As Incineroar goes for a Will-O-Wisp, there's a Flash Fire against Chandelure, and I'm gonna go for a Shadow Ball. Incineroar could go for a switch out here. Go on to Berserker. Intimidate and Shadow Ball hits, super effective. Still an interesting call though as to what happens next. Is that fighting type move by any chance close combat? I guess we'll never know. Kyogre now heading out. And a Wonder Guard for Kyogre as well. And I have to switch out. We're gonna go on to Berserker here. Actually, no, I'm gonna go What do I have against an Ice and Psychic type? Mantine? Kyogre charging up with a Calm Mind. Gonna go for the Ice Beam. Could go for another switch. They don't. The Ice Beam is super effective, but Kyogre handling that move pretty well. So I'm gonna go for an Ice Beam again. Super effective again. This will wear Kyogre out eventually. Either that or Kyogre will land a big Ice type move, and there's a critical hit against Kyogre. A crucial KO there, and it's going to be the first one of the game. Berserker heading back out. He's got the Intimidate and not much else. Why did the Fake Out do so much damage? Gonna go for another Ice Beam if we can. I think they're going to go for another switch. There it is, onto Incineroar. He's got the Wonder Guard as well. And I don't have anything here, so I'm gonna go on to Berserker. And Incineroar with a Parting Shot to lower attack and special attack. And Incineroar is going to switch out onto the other Berserker to lower attack and special attack even more? Are you serious? Right, so I'm gonna switch out again. This time going on to Miltank. Fake Out does a decent amount, but Berserker is down to the red. And I'm gonna go for an Earthquake here. Actually, do I have... No, I don't really have anything else. They do switch onto Incineroar. I think that's their strat. Going on to Incineroar, Wonder Guard, and a Parting Shot most likely. Body Slam doesn't do anything. They go for a Will-O-Wisp instead, but Miltank has Flash Fire. It's not going to matter much, though. I'm going to go on to Chandelure here. And Knockoff, well resisted? I don't know if it's well resisted. It still did 33% damage, which is not good for a resisted move. Berserker heading back out. And Chandelure lands the Shadow Ball, super effective, and Berserker is out. So who's going to be up next here? It is Tapu Bulu. So I'm going to go for another Shadow Ball. Hornleech is super effective and takes down Chandelure. So Mantine is going to be up next. And I'm going to go for an Ice Beam here. If we can, Hornleech is resisted. An Ice Beam. Tapu Bulu's got a Wonder Guard. So what do I have against a Rock and Fighting type? I'm going to go for Dugtrio here. And a Hornleech still did a decent amount of damage, albeit resisted. I'm going to go for a Stone Edge here. And I'm really hoping this one is going to land. And the Stone Edge hits. Tapu Bulu down to 2%. Hits the Hornleech and recovers a slight bit. And Stone Edge is the only move I could use here. It will be enough to take down Tapu Bulu. That Wonder Guard ability is so frustrating. Shedinja heading back out. That was like 3 abilities in one. So I'm going to switch on to Miltank here. The Poltergeist, that's going to be super effective, and Miltank is out. That is a read. So now I'm going to go on to Berserker here. And I'm going to try and read the situation. Never mind, there's a Poltergeist, and it's super effective again. And Berserker is out. Zapdos is up next. And I'm going to go for a close combat this time. Poltergeist hits. Wow. Another one-hit KO. This is going to be another sweep, isn't it? How is Shedinja doing this? You cannot get away with that. So I think that's going to be that, because I don't have anything to deal with this Wonder Guard. Mantine is out, and Dugtrio remains. Earthquake with the Wonder Guard, and Shedinja lands the Poltergeist, and that decides the game. I knew I was going to lose this one when I found out that Poltergeist didn't even need to be super effective to be a one-hit KO. So that was pretty much Random Battle Mayhem in what was probably more than a nutshell. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed any part of this, then feel free to like this video and subscribe to the channel. And I'll talk to you in the next video.